We'll call this meeting to order. Jen, could you do a roll call, please?
Tom McDonald,
Here.
Anita Matt,
Present.
Jennifer Finley,
Here.
Jim Molitor,
Here.
Carol Langford, Len Tucci,
Here.
Bing Matt, Ellie Bundy,
Present.
Martin Charlo,
Present.
Mike Dawson,
I'm here.
James Steele Senior.
Jen. Can I ask Ellie to lead us in a prayer this morning, start our meeting off?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Heavenly Father, first and foremost, today we thank you for all of the beautiful blessings in our lives, our lands, our waters, our peoples, our children, grandchildren, and other special people. Please help us to be grateful and appreciative of all of those blessings. We also ask that you be with us today as we make decisions on behalf of our tribal membership, and that you be with those struggling or dealing with loss or painful situations today. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Thank you, Ellie. Okay, first item of business is the minutes. We have draft minutes from March 15th for your review, consideration. I do have just a couple of corrections for you, Abby. On page 2, Chairman McDonald was talking about the Nine Pipe Museum is doing a new chapter on Indigenous cultures and ritual care policy. So that's the correct title for their chapter in their new manual they're working on. Also, the next paragraph, Chairman McDonald informed council that the Intertribal Bison Council is seeking a letter of support for the Indian Buffalo Management Act. Period. Thank you, Abby. Go ahead, Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the top of page 2, where I'm talking about housing, it's rental assistance, just to specify, please. Thank you.
Jennifer.
Thanks, Chairman McDonald. I have a few corrections also on page 2. I would just like to strike out the sentence that says the Department of Agriculture's workforce is down by 40%. So they're waiting to put for the state to put in for the land exchanges. I would just delete that. And further down on page 3, at the top of page 3, the senator support, I would just like to change that to Senator Tester supported the Violence Against Women Act. Thank you.
Chair, I make the motion to approve the minutes.
Motion by Martin to approve the draft minutes with corrections. Is there a second? Second by Anita to approve the draft minutes of March 15th with corrections. Any further discussion? All those in favor, show of hands. Unanimous. All right, we have our draft agenda before us. And we have one walk-in so far. Is there any other additions to the agenda? I would offer just one quick update on the item for Monday morning, and then start planning for our quarterly meeting coming up on April 1st. If there's any topics there, I do have one additional suggestion besides what I've received in emails. Any other agenda items? Okay, Anita. Martin.
I'll have an open session item, please.
Kelly.
Additions?
Motion by Ellie to move the agenda for today with additions. Any, is there a second? Second by Martin. Any further discussion? Seeing none, show of hands. Our agenda is approved for today. Thank you. Okay, we'll start with our walk-in. Brian, come on up. Good to see you.
Multiple buttons here. I had to pass a test before I could get it on. So quick conversation this morning. We had a briefing yesterday, follow-up from Tuesday's presentation from the Tribal Legal Department, where Stu let you all know about some meetings that we've been invited to coming up. One today at 10 o'clock with the 15 tribal leaders have all been invited, including Mr. Chairman. And with your appointment of Mike as your representative to the Columbia River Treaty conversations, there's a lot of spillover here. So we kind of got that figured out yesterday, that this hasn't been a conversation you've had yet. So seeking this morning your appointment, I guess, or unofficial, or at least your concurrence that Mike can speak for the tribes today in the conversation with the rest of the tribes, which will be a formation then of a message to the administration's secretarial staff or secretary staff, which is quite extensive. CEQ, DOE, DOI, and there's one other that I'm missing. NOAA Fisheries. So quite extensive cast of characters that have agreed to meet via Zoom with the tribal leaders on Monday. And the ask is going to be by the tribal leaders to have some attention paid by this administration for restoration of salmon. And I'm sure at the heart of it is going to be removal of the Snake River facilities, along with many other things. In addition, reintroduction above the Grand Coulee on the Columbia arm of the system. So those will be the asks. I think the biggest considerations for us is, number one, from a long-term perspective, as I explained to Mike, if we're going to pursue, which I hope at some time in the future we do, access to treaty protected resources to our west, i.e. salmon and steelhead, being present is going to make that better. Being not present will make it hard. Secondly, we need to make sure that what the ask isn't to reallocate dollars that we as tribes have fought for and successfully gained in the current infrastructure bill. So I think there's going to be some opportunities for us in energy development. I think there's going to be opportunity for us in roads, as Rich communicated to us yesterday. I'm not sure about housing, but if the message is reallocate to take out the dams and do other stuff, that'll cause us to pause. I think it should, from a policy perspective, because we've got other priorities over here that we're starting to get momentum on. Shifting that to removal of the dams could cause problems. Getting the dams removed is going to be hard. So if you move all the money over here, it might not get spent, number one, and it might then take away from opportunities to do other things. So that'd be the biggest thing to kind of protect for. But the message, I think, is clear. Sure, we're in for the conversation. We support it. We're here. I think would be the type of discussion for today in preparation, and then a repeat of that to the secretaries on Monday.
Thank you, Mike. Yeah, I know Michael's been involved with the Columbia River stuff, and so that makes sense for Mike to participate today, and also on Monday if needed. So you're saying that it's possible to take the bipartisan infrastructure law funding, that the part that's discretionary, and move it into removing these dams as a potential?
That's a potential, and that's something that we should not say no to, but say we need to think through that first.
Yeah,
that would be my advice.
Yeah,
because I don't know all the implications.
Yeah, I think Brian, it's excellent you brought up the thing that, yeah, it puts us at the table. We want to make sure we always reserve our opportunity to engage in our treaty rights, and fishing the entire Columbia, I believe, is in our treaty rights. So that certainly is something that would be worthy to always be participating and making our voice known. Wholly agree with you. So yeah, I think you guys, council, in consensus, we're there's Mike to proceed and Brian to provide support and move forward.
Okay,
Thank you.
will do. Thank you. One more quick item. Sent you all an email of Foster DeReich's passing last week. Many of you know him. If you got a chance to read the obituary, it was, I thought, quite honorable. That highlight of his career was working with us in his efforts on the relicensing and the Nana Corporation, which I don't know exactly what he did for them, but Carol suggested maybe some personal letter or something from the tribes. If you want some help, certainly me and Dan Decker, of course, had a lot of experience with him, knows, was working with him one-on-one. So we could help provide some drafting of that if you want that. So just let us know.
I think, Brian, if you're offering to draft a letter for signature by the chair, I think that we'd be grateful to do that.
Okay.
Appreciate you doing that.
Pull it together.
You could provide that intimate detail, acknowledgement for his family. That would be great.
Okay.
But especially the scale and magnitude that it's become.
Yeah.
His early work.
Yeah.
Definitely. Carol?
Another topic, the dedication of the submarine.
Yes, USS Montana. Stand by. I will come back and give you a full presentation on that. I've been working on getting the final agenda together. The commissioning has been scheduled for the third week of June, 23rd, 24th, Friday, Saturday, excuse me. The ask will be for to send the chairman to that commissioning ceremony, along with other chairs from across tribal nations here in the state. If I can get that pulled together and coordinated, kind of difficult. And then also, ideally, we'd have an intertribal drum be participating in the ceremonies to kick off the commissioning, which would be pretty dang powerful. They were really impressed with, Martin, your introduction on our video that we provided them last year for the christening. And then our drum group and our honor guard and Warrior Society display at our memorial. So very impactful. We have a pipe that's been made for you new on council. I don't know if you got to see it in the Charcusta News, but Gene Sorrell really facilitated the build of a pipe for presentation that will reside on the ship for its entire life of service. So that'll be the gift that's provided over to the Navy officially on Friday night. And then Saturday would be the participation in the ceremonies on the front end. So opportunity for a short little speaking opportunity on Friday evening, along with other delegates from Montana, including the governor and all of probably Senator Tester. Certainly Rosendale and Danes have been invited. I expect them to be there as well. So as soon as I get all of the detail worked out, I'll get back in front of you and we can talk through it.
Was that in San Diego?
No, that is in Norfolk, Virginia. All submarines now have been moved to be being built in Norfolk. And it's a different fleet than the Los Angeles fleet. They're taking the place of them. So thanks, Carol. Wasn't anticipating talking about that, but I'll bring my USS Montana hat too next time. Okay.
Thank you. Go ahead, Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Brian. Off topic, when are the stairs open or are they?
We'll open them on April 15th is our standard opening. We will have them open this year. Of course, they're getting pretty rickety, so we do have a build plan for replacing those stairs, at least getting the stairs done. The overall recreational development, we'll have some conversation with you all about to see how much further you want to go, whether that includes a zip line as Vice Chairman Two Teeth has always lobbied for.
That'd be chairman too.
Okay. Well, certainly it's an opportunity. The city of Spokane with A Vista Corporation, of course, if you all are aware, has a gondola that you can jump in and take a little ride right over the Spokane Falls Dam, and it's pretty cool. So when I think about that, I think, this is not out of the realm of possibility. So certainly something that can be thought about.
Thank you, Brian.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Okay, you guys have a great day. See you on phone, Mike.
Okay. Okay, Anita, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to remind council, I had mentioned about the Blackfeet Nation implementing out of ARPA funds, the livestock feed program to assist producers, being that our hay prices have been so high and it's been such a long winter and we're not sure about when the spring comes, but I had talked to a few people up there and they actually set aside 1.5 million out of their ARPA funds, but they've got over 200 producers. I think here on the Flathead, we're probably looking at 50 to 70 maybe. But I talked to Rick and he's gonna, of course, talk to Greg and go through what is unused or whatever there maybe could be reallocated. And then we can bring it back into the council to see if that's something that we want to do. But they were given protein feed supplements, the big tubs. And so anyway, it was helping the producers out, kind of fills the cattle outside of hay. So I wanted to mention that him and Greg were looking into that and they'll get back a hold of us. The other thing is I did receive a call from Cheney Bell, and Vernon mentioned it during our elders meeting the other day about the name change down at Dixon Agency. And so I contacted Cheney back and told him that we had been in contact with the Kootenai elders as well, and that we would like their input on the history and the name changes they'd like to see. So we're working on that, but I wanted council to be aware of that. Get them both together. So thank you.
Thank you, Anita, for those updates. Let's see. Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just wanted to make an announcement that I'll be having a district meeting for Pablo next Wednesday. Believe Carol will be attending, Mr. Chair. You're at large, but I know you reside in Ronan, so you're more than welcome to whatever, just come along and give updates. So, thank you.
Thank you, Martin. I would, since I'm at large, I'm at everybody's district. So if I can help or participate, I will try to be there, at least by Zoom, if not in person. So thank you, Martin. So on Monday, we have the State Tribal Economic Development Commission is holding a community meeting in Quitucknuck from 8:30-ish. 9 is the agenda through lunch. We have a lot of staff and some tribal businesses that are presenting at it. And I will be doing a welcoming to the group. And then if council wants to attend, please do. It just, they need a head count for the lunches and breakfast if you want it. So give her a call. And then for a quarterly meeting. So not sure your historical planning for having a quarterly meeting, what you want on the agenda, but that's just coming up in a couple weeks. So I know that there's some recommendations from the college to recognize some outstanding employees that are critical in keeping them in compliance with student loan paybacks. There might have been another one that they sent, but I was in particularly consideration. What I wanted to do was to try to, I know there was recognition for in the water compact legislation, the council recognized Ryan and Rhonda pretty effectively, and I really appreciate that they did that. But another person that was really key in drafting a lot of that for the bison range was Brian Upton. So I think it would be appropriate to recognize Brian at this next meeting, and then follow up with our event in May to do another one for, it could be more appropriate to recognize Brian. And if it's a consensus of council, we would add that to it, like a chair's award or whatever you want to call it, special recognition. Just throwing it out there for you.
Yeah, I agree with
Go ahead, Martin.
that. I believe we did that already for Ryan.
Not Ryan, but Brian Upton. Brian Upton, sorry, my bad. No, Brian Upton. that whole segment in the act was drafted by him.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Chair, and members of the council, I would also like to do an honoring of tribal member Abby Dupuy. You know, Abby just recently resigned from the appellate court. And for those of you that are not familiar with the history, that Abby created the appellate court on her own. She's done a lot of time on her own, working through this, working through and creating and developing the process. And she's done a lot of work on there. So I would like to recognize her for her hard work there.
That's a great suggestion. Great professionalism and support. And yeah, just Abby is been a key in everything you said for being our only, what's the title, stenographer? Is that it? Yeah. For such a long time. Go ahead.
At some time, I don't think that we have enough time, being it's April already or pretty close, but at some time I'd like to see personnel start recognizing the people in their services, their years. We haven't done that in quite a while. And I'd like to start recognizing the employees for the work that they do in the years that they've been here. So maybe it's something we can look at in July and give them some time out there, but thank you.
Thank you, Anita. I know that that void, a lot of departments do that on their own. And but it's great to do it here with the tribal council acknowledgement of that.
Well, and
Longevity of service.
we have quite a few people that'll be retiring this year. We've lost quite a few, but they're coming up in the fall. But I don't know, just a recognition and years of service. And used to be they got a blanket and a pen. I don't know, it's been so many years. I don't even know how many years I've been here now, but it helped, a little pat on the back. So thank you.
Absolutely. The other thing that was interesting is that there's outside acknowledgement of our tribal membership, wherever it might be, awards or recognition. And since December, there's been, quite a few. So it would be nice just if I can get a summary of that, I'd like to read that into the record at the quarterly. They don't need to be present, but it would be nice to just acknowledge that, whether it's a nomination for an art award or it's a Cowboy of the Year or whatever it might be, that we have these members that are out there and just want to, remind people of that. So Biologist of the Year, just those other accolades that are out there by other institutions, and recognizing that before the governing body, I think, is important. So if the council is consensus of that, I'll try to put together a list. If you have any information, also give that to me so I could provide that, or have one of us read it out and take turns, acknowledging these other awards that staff have gotten. So, that sounds good. Okay. As far as presentations, I don't know if there's any updates, that we would want to put out there for the membership at the quarterly. Vice Range event coming up.
The water compact.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I sat in a meeting yesterday and I wasn't even aware of this meeting that, what's his name? Casey Ryan, I think, chaired the meeting. And you guys probably all sat in on this, but I tell you, just listening to each component of this group, and it had to do with the water compact and developing, moving forward. And I was so impressed. It finally gave me the picture of all of the details and what it takes to put this whole thing together. And I was pretty impressed. So if anybody gets a chance to sit in on that meeting, it was yesterday about 10. And we heard from all of the executives in this group that, and everything that they're doing. There was issues brought up about the governor's meeting and how there was, and the money that he talked about. And they weren't really aware of the whole, what the governor had said. And so I think we need to make sure communications, like in that instance, gets back to the actual people on the ground who are dealing with these issues. And so I was just impressed, and maybe you've all sat in. Tom, you're probably well aware of it, but
No,
it was,
I've never been invited to the meeting.
I just got the Zoom link, and so I thought, well, I'm not doing anything, I'll just listen in, and that's exactly what, I didn't say anything, I didn't direct anything, I just thanked them, and you gotta sit in on it, wow. Gave me the big picture anyway, thank you.
Are you talking about the department coordination, the IDT meeting?
It's
Oh, that's the meeting you're talking about.
not
Okay.
forestry, no, it wasn't IDT.
You're talking about forestry, NRD and lands coordination meeting. Yeah, yeah. And they'll do specific projects they'll do updates on. So that's probably what it was. But there is a separate water compact implementation team. And they have sometimes weekly or monthly meetings. Mhm. Mhm. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's when you talk about these big projects, that's why I keep saying that we need to bring in more, fresh brain matter to be able to implement these projects and do everything that we want to do, and all the other lists that I've seen that council's developed over the last 2 years is that we are staffed short on being able to implement, and we're going to overtax existing staff. So we get really worried about that.
That's how we got where we're at today, is by brain matter, and I've never heard it called that, but exactly. So any brain matter that's out there, we need to get them in here, because it was impressive just listening to this whole group. So we got a good group of staff.
We do, and we want to hang on to them. We don't want some headhunter to rob them, steal them, take them away. So go ahead, Ellie.
Kind of on what you mentioned earlier about identifying people who have received awards. I saw one on Facebook, one of our student support services employees at SKC, Ellen Edison, just recently received the Montana College Attainment Network's Practitioner of the Year for 2022 award. And I had the privilege to work with Alan when I was over at the college, and he's done amazing work for the SSS team, and just want to acknowledge him briefly for that award.
Absolutely. That's exactly what we need. We need a listing of all those. We could make that known for everybody. So go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah, I just want to say I'm glad this conversation come up, because I think it's we need to start recognizing these people for their service, the long-term service and everything they do for the tribe. So I think it's about, I don't know how long it's been since it happened, but I'm glad we're starting to think about it again. Thank you.
Any other discussion? So we would do a water rights update and bison range update and awards, and then recognize other outstanding tribal members in whatever category it might be. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Mr. Chair, will the land ordinance be out at that time? Is that a time to hand out for public comment, that document?
Question. No idea.
I actually asked to do that the other day, and it didn't sound like it was going to be ready. They kept saying March, and now it's pending out further. I hope they don't put it down the road and then Stu leaves, but they were saying that John Carter had reviewed it, is what Stu told us. But gosh, we got to keep on them about it, or it's not going to get done.
I don't know if you want to be proactive on Indian or tribal health coverage. If there's any updates they want to do, or try to justify why there's no walk-ins at the dental clinic. That's there could be, update from tribal health. Okay, go ahead, Nita.
I just follow up on that. Mr. Chair, I hope that we can get back in after. it. Like I said, I don't want to be in on the day to day, but when we used to have those meetings, at least you kind of knew what was going on. We have absolutely no idea what's going on down there. We hear people complaining, about not being able to get in or canceling appointments or whatever, but we have absolutely no idea. I think that we should start having them monthly meetings again
Yeah, Rick and
until
and
we
Patty
get
have
the
been
board or.
trying to put the committee back together. Yes, thank you. Okay, any other items? Did I miss anything on our agenda so far? No? Okay. Guess we're ready for the first item. Go ahead.
I am not sure if I want to bring it up, but I was asked about the increased rates of our recreation permits. And this is basically from a non-member. And I asked them if they had, if they had commented on the public comment period about the increase. And they just asked if council would ever consider, because, they were talking themselves, their wife and 3 kids, and that's $500 to be able to recreate on the reservation. And they understand it's a cost and that the tribes put the money back into the resource, but it's so expensive for families to even get out there. So anyway, I told them that for sure next year they need to make, if they have, people that are very concerned about this, they need to make comment on it, and that's the time to do that. So, and that's when the consideration comes in. But I told them I would go ahead and bring it up, and then also the closures for people that live here also were a concern of theirs too, that they no longer can recreate at, the Twin Lakes and other places, Jetty and that. So I said I would go ahead and bring it up and let the council know that, the non-members who support us and do everything here on the reservation, some of them do, wanted to voice their concern. So nothing negative. It's just a plea, I guess, to maybe consider something for them.
Thanks, Carol. Lynn?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Carol, thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, I think this new policy is something that we could look at doing some amendments if we need to. When we first started discussing this, at least from my personal standpoint, my intention was to focus on those out-of-state recreationists is what I wanted to address when we were talking about that. I did not, it was not my intention to include our on-reservation residents, because many of them are, not only are they descendants, but some may not have close family ties where they cannot be included in family activities and still, but they still have to pay the proposed fee exchange. But anyway, I think this is something we need to look at after a year or so, and if we have to do any changes, we could do it then. But I'm glad you brought that up, because we need to keep discussing that. I get the same concerns from other folks too that have lived here all of their lives. Many of them are still in the process of trying to get enrolled and feel that they're part of our tribal community here. But so anyway, thank you for bringing it up, and yeah, let's keep this on our list. Thanks, Carol.
Thanks, Lynn. Yeah, the ordinance 44D regulations are annual regulations, so you can modify them and change them as much as you want. So we will have it brought forward again for council consideration and modification. Just wanted to, since I was involved with it, just remind you that Staff did not recommend a general increase in the rec permits for reservation residents. We only did for camping for them because that's where we had most of the complaints. We just don't have enough camping places for our own membership and anybody else. So it was really, so they had the staff did recommend the camping stamp go up for everybody. But for just a rec permit for day use or attachment to your fishing license or whatever, we did not make any recommendation for fee increase for locals, reservation residents. So I just wanted to remind you of what staff had recommended in regard to what you're bringing up.
Okay, so,
Yes.
but it was changed to 100.
Council recommended a fee increase for reservation residents for the rec permit. It went up 20 some dollars. And then everybody's camping stamp went up to $100, no matter
Okay.
where you resided. So it's most people, when they think of camping, that's where they're taking the biggest hardship, is if they wanted to camp.
Yeah,
And so the eloquent argument for that is that if you go to a Forest Service campground, you may pay upwards of $20 a night.
Mm,
And you're getting a camping stamp that's good for 365 days for $100. So it's always sticker shot for people, but when you look at it, if I'm gonna go spend the weekend on the Gallatin National Forest, I'm gonna spend for that campsite, for my whole group, you know, I might spend $100. But it's, you know, if you have children, they're exempt. They don't have to have a camping stamp under the age of 18. So. Thank you. We'll do our first agenda item. Get some.
We'd be here all day.
Right.
So I'll just save that one when we have the actual discussions. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. Okay. First, we have Tony and Cachola.
There you go. Sorry about that. Trying to minimize windows there. Good morning, council. I have a request for expenditure report, FM forest management deduction expenditure report, and also a resolution to approve the FY22 forest management deduction expenditure plan. They start in your packet on page 2. Page 3 is the first page of the expenditure report. We had last year, our expenditure plan was for 241,000. We ended up not spending any of that due to a funding request granted from the BIA for both the greenhouse and for our timber harvest initiative account. So that's a good thing. We didn't have to spend any of that money. So you'll see there in the actual column 0 spent. I don't know why the cost of accounting still slid over. It's one of those autofill. And so funds received were $255,203 with nothing spent out of there. So pages to page 8 there, it shows the different accounts that it was set up to be spent in, but we didn't end up spending any of the money. So that is the first one, just the expenditure report showing we didn't spend any out of there. And that one does not need a resolution, but I will need to have it approved by you guys and signed, and then also the superintendent. Any questions on the expenditure report for FY21?
Questions from council on the expenditure report? Okay, motion to accept the expenditure report. Motion by Anita, second by Mike. Any further discussion? All those in favor, show of hands. Unanimous.
Okay, thank you. The second report starts on your agenda packet, page 9. It is the FY22 expenditure plan. Item A, 255, that's what we have in the account right now. Our anticipated new accruals through harvest and collection is 140. Expected expenditure is 215, which would leave us a balance for next year of 180 in there. Page 2 or page 3 shows the expected revenue or accruals due to harvesting of this year, totaling 140,000 of FMD collection. Page 12 shows the expected expenditure used for forest product sale administration, some travel, supplies, equipment, possible new laptops and computers for the staff here. No money is set up for forest protection. We've received funding from the BIA to use for that section. So we don't need to use any of the FMDs collected for that. Forest development, we have not received any funding from BIA yet due to the CRs and the continuing resolution. And so we've had to expect to spend money out of here. Fortunately, when we do, we've been told we were awarded money. It just hasn't got here yet. And so when we get awarded that money, hopefully we'll apply that funding to the salaries instead of using FMDs. The forest management inventory planning, there's 10,000 in there to help use with the LiDAR study and inventory. And then page 16 or 8 of the report, but 16 in your packet just goes through the IDC rates, the accounts that the money would be transferred to, and then deferred account money saved for next year. Page 17 of your packet is the resolution that I'll need approved to bring forward to the BIA superintendent, showing you've approved our expenditure plan and submit that to the region.
Tony, when you get when the CFR issue is resolved, are you able to reimburse this account or not?
No, we can't reimburse it, but hopefully we get it before we have to expend it, and then we can save it and use it for other necessities.
Any questions for Tony? Motion by Len to approve the resolution approving the fiscal year 2022 expenditure plan for forest management deductions. Seconded by Jimmy. Any further discussion? All those in favor, show of hands. Unanimous. Thank you, Tony.
And that's all I had for you guys today. Thank you, guys.
I have one question for you, Tony, separate. There is a strategic planning, comprehensive 10-year strategic planning effort coming up that the Forest Service is doing, and they're looking for a person to represent the tribes to sit on this planning, reduce wildfire risk in the region, the northern region. Would you have a recommendation for a staff person?
Myself right now.
Okay.
Yep. I am in with conversations with the Forest Service already for the strategic planning partnered through ITC.
Okay. Thank you, Tony.
Okay.
We do. Motion by Carol to assign Tony Cashola Jr. to the regional roundtable to develop a comprehensive 10-year strategic implementation plan for reducing wildfire risk to people, communities, and natural resources. Second by Bing. All those in favor? Out of the room, Ellie out of the room. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Next, we have Constance.
Good morning.
Morning, Constance.
Morning. I'm here today in regards to 2 resolutions that I have submitted with the grant proposals. for funding from the AARP of Montana. They're small grants, but they're kind of to help our elders in regards to, the first one is in regards to restaurants and dining for our elders to get out and be in, go out into the community to get them back into being comfortable being out in the public and getting some recreation. We're looking at 15,000. 15,000 and that is over a 5-month period. This is the resolution in regards to that that's up at this point. And basically, I noted that we find our elders as one of our most precious resources. The Elder Division also is concerned about their physical, spiritual, and mental health, and as well as the COVID epidemic has basically caused isolation for our elders. They have not been back to our senior centers as they were prior to the epidemic. And so I have worked this out with the AARP to submit a grant to provide them the opportunity to get out into our restaurants and dine at their leisure and their time. So that is, I'm asking for the approval of this one, and it's $15,961 for this, the first application.
Constance, I have one question, and I'm assuming that if you were successful in obtaining this funding, that then you would follow our tribal preference policy to vendors that are restaurants. Is that correct?
Yes, yes, we would, basically. I do have a restaurant that's over in Hot Springs. I don't believe there is a tribal one there, but I can definitely check to see. But yeah, I was looking at tribal preference in regards to the restaurants, and I'm looking at about 4 or 5 of them overall across the reservation to provide them this experience. And I will be working with the restaurants in regards to an agreement if I get this approved by AARP in regards to nutritional balance of the meals.
Anita?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just have a quick question. How are you going to allocate the funds out? Is it like a certificate that you would give the elders that they
Yeah,
voted?
a voucher from each, it would have the place where we put the name of the restaurant where they're going to, at their choice, where they're going to have the meal, and then we would give that voucher, and I'll have that worked out with the restaurants when they present that voucher that their meal is paid by us.
Any other questions for Constance on this grants proposal?
Chair, I make a motion to approve the resolution to apply for funding through AARP.
Motion by Martin to approve the resolution approving the submission of the proposal of documents to AARP of Montana Agency to provide dining experience services to tribal elders. Second by Anita. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. One out of the room. Ellie out of the room. Okay, Constance, let's look at your second one.
Sure. The
Go ahead,
second,
Mike. Just 1 second, Mike, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have to excuse myself for that other meeting.
Thank you, Mike. Go ahead, Constance.
okay, I do have a second application to AARP. You can apply for multiple grants with this program. They have about 15 for the state of Montana this year that they're going to provide. And this one is for our garden and lawn work that we do for our elders. I am looking at, and I spoke with Martin in regards to utilizing the community garden space that he has here in Pablo, and he had no problem with us being a part of that. And so I wanted to, I have in here a purchase of a greenhouse as well as a watering, automatic waterings drip for that system, as well as we're looking at a riding lawnmower, 2 push lawnmowers, and then a smaller lawnmower, and 2 rototillers, as well as weed eaters. And we're basically asking for 12,000. What is that? Is that 12,600 for this application? And I believe, importance for us to assist our elders in getting their lawns done, because they have a risk of falling if their grass is long, but besides also the risk of fires and that type of stuff. So it's preventive and safety issues that we're working on this one for our elders. And the food that we get from the garden, we're going to provide that to our senior centers as well as our elders.
Any questions from council? We have a motion from Carol to approve the resolution submitting documents to AARP of Montana Agency to provide food support and lawn services for tribal elders in need of support.
Mr. Chair, I'd second the motion, but I did just want Constance to check the messages. I sent a couple typos for the resolution.
Any additional discussion? I would just offer one thing, Constance, if you can, try to purchase electric riding lawnmowers or push lawnmowers, and reduce your maintenance and help with our carbon issue with climate change.
Sure. Okay, we'll take that into consideration and do that.
Okay. All those in favor, show of hands. Unanimous. Mike out of the room. Thank you, Constance.
Thank you. You all have a good day.
You too. Okay, next is the interviews, but I think we'll take a short break. 5-minute break. Thank you. Oh yeah, absolutely. We'll do it second when we come back.